Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, before we get started, let's go ahead and recap, I guess, since we can't play the audio for it. So my recollection of it is not going to be perfect because, of course, I thought the video was going to play. But there was a guy.
Man, so in
the video, I don't know if we haven't seen this, Victor. So it was a guy that got in a fight, and his lady was there. Yeah.
Okay, so what happened was there was a guy was out with his lady, his wife, and there was a guy getting handsy with his wife. So he stepped in, and the guy swung first. The guy was drunk, I guess, and the guy swung first. And he broke his jaw, knocked him out, all that good stuff. And he said that ever since that event, his wife has lost attraction to him. She stays late at work, drops the kids off at the grandparents' house, and when it's time to engage in marital conjugal rights, she makes the comment that she's tired, has a headache, and stuff like that. Ever since he got knocked out and had his jaw wired shut from getting hit. So that's the situation, everybody on the audience right there. You're out with your lady, the guy swings on you first, catches you slipping, you got to go to the hospital, you're knocked out, and now she doesn't find you as attractive.
That brings me to my next question. So why do you think that, let's go with Victor, why do you think that she lost attraction and respect for him?
It's the same way a man would lose attraction for a woman once he finds out something about her that he didn't know. Because I believe that every man believes that the woman that he chooses has a level of purity and privacy and something that's specific to him, and then the minute that it's no longer private to him and it's exposed to everyone else, then it's no longer an incentive. You know what I'm saying? Like being in a relationship is supposed to be the place where you're supposed to be able to keep each other's secrets, right? But then when somebody lets your secret out, then that person isn't attractive anymore. You don't trust them, in some kind of way. So in that situation, that women that lose attraction for men and that they get beat up, probably because she feels like he can't protect her anymore. You know what I'm saying? And this whole time, he's probably been selling her a dream, or she's been having this false sense of security based on this guy that she with. But I saw another video that's similar to this. You guys probably saw it too. So from what I can tell, a white guy and his lady come into this convenience store, from what I can tell. The lady gets really irate with the guy, with another guy that's in the store. The dude that ended up beating up both of them was a black dude, right? And she was running her mouth, and he smacked up both of them, and then he was down on his knees at some point. You know what I'm saying? Talking about, I love you. It was a whole chaos type of situation, right? But the dude, the white dude, called the black dude the N-word and thought that was going to power him up, but he got smacked up real good, and she started the situation. You could tell she was intoxicated. They both were probably intoxicated, but I'm sure that car ride home was real quiet or very awkward. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you watch your significant other get smacked up in front of you, like, I take a look. It's kind of bad.
What you think, Vulcan? What's the, why do you think she lost attraction and even respect for him?
I think we all have a pretty good understanding of why she lost attraction. Women mate select for things such as protection and safety and security, and all those are overlapping and similar. And whenever they don't feel like they're getting it, basically, if they don't feel like they're getting that, then that's going to make them lose attraction, because that's part of the reason why they're attracted to men in the first place. So that happened. I think I think also part of the reason why she lost attraction is because we have this bravado-driven culture. This, everybody's the big dog, and you know, if you don't want, what they call mess around and find out kind of attitude. And it's just all it does is cause people to have to fake it, and hopefully they make it. that's what's going on. Everybody gets knocked out. Mike Tyson got knocked out. Daniel Cormier got knocked out. People get knocked out.
Yeah, knocked out is one thing, but in the video, I'm sorry for honest, we weren't able to play the video, but his mouth was wired shut, right?
Well, and that's the part of it too, and that's one of the things I never liked about growing up. And you see people talk about fighting. At a certain point in time, once grown men have a certain level of strength, if they hit you first, they could put you out. It just doesn't really matter at that point about if you're a better fighter than them or not. If they hit you first, your body's a biological organism. It's only can handle but so much impact on that little button, below your lips.
Any man can knock another man out.
That's it.
Like I remember I used to go work out before when I was in the Army. Like before I went and worked out for PT in the morning, I would go to Gold's Gym. And I get there like 4 a.m, and it's the same gym crew that's there every morning. The people that's got to go to work in an hour or two trying to get their fitness in and whatever. And there was this one dude. I was on a cardio machine, and this one guy comes in. He's slim. I say he probably 5'9", 165, 170 pounds. Lean. And he come in and do some stretching and some lightweight exercises for mobility. And so I heard this one dude was like talking crazy, pretty much saying, that guy's weak. Just talking this rah. And then about 15 minutes after he warmed up, you just hear somebody just beating the bag to sleep. And he looked over, it's the same guy, 5'9", 170, leg whipping his bag in cargo shorts. And I'm like, I guarantee you're not gonna say what you said under your breath to his face. You gotta stop assuming that just because your skill gotta match your opinion.
Yeah.
You gotta be real.
The top. I want to ask one more question about the topic. Now, like I said, we was able to play this. It was a guy that was he got knocked down in front of his lady, mouth was wired shut, and he was asking the host his advice or tips how to rekindle the relationship. Do y'all got any? Let's go with Victor. What can this guy do to get that bond strengthened with his woman, get back to be intimate? What can you do?
No, it's over with. You might well just go and be a passport, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's over with.
What about you, Vulcan?
It would take some divine intervention, short of some divine intervention. It's because the thing about how women operate is it's vibes, it's feelings. It's not, so there's no linear, logical type of explanation you can be able to do. There's no counseling you can really do, because even to ask for counseling or to do that is like almost an admission of weakness. And from their vantage point, so it's just there's no way to get around that. The only thing you can do is just, I think maybe there's a certain religious practice, you can appeal to them religiously, but it would take a lot of work, because part of it is demystifying this whole bravado thing to begin with. Truthfully, it doesn't matter whether the guy can fight or not. If somebody hits you first. Yeah. So really the main issue was, you shouldn't let somebody get that close to you if you're not going to swing. Now, this is a really good topic, because I've heard women tell me before that they've lost interest in a man because a man's hitting on them nonstop, especially when I've heard black women when they go out with I've heard black women say why they don't go out with non-black men anymore. And part of it was because they say the black men will keep on hitting on them. And even if the Hispanic or the white guy, the Asian guy is there. And one lady in particular, and I think ENOS, you got to hear some of this story, was whenever she said that the black guys kept hitting on her, and it was a shorter Hispanic guy that she worked with. Yeah, and she said that part of the thing was the guy at one point he goes, "You want me to do something about this?" And she said the fact that he asked that question, he lost all points. Mm-hmm. And my thing with the situation, y'all feel free to jump in, was what do you expect that guy to do? Is he gonna go up and fight a bunch of black guys? Is he gonna, or just fight men in general? You're gonna fight men in general for what?
You shouldn't even be with no woman that want to put you in a dangerous situation. This is like where I talk about, like how dangerous.
That, Victor, I hear you, but I mean, it seems like most women expect this. This is a requirement.
Now, here's the thing. You got disciplined women, and then you got undisciplined women.
Yeah.
Undisciplined women have unrealistic expectations. Disciplined women don't put you in messed up situations that escalate the margin of safety for your life.
I got a question for you. If you had to guess,
that question, my God, John, what's up, man?
What up?
What's up to the Vulcan?
What's up,
guys?
What's going on?
Our topic. Go ahead, Vulcan, ask the question.
I was gonna say, to Victor's point, what percentage of women, if you had to guess, would you say are disciplined versus undisciplined?
I'd say I'd lean with the married people first, because men marry behavior. So with that being said, I'd go with at least 25%. At least I'm cool with saying 25% of women are disciplined enough to not put their husbands in disadvantaged positions where their safety gets compromised. Now, you want to think about the other group of women that's out there, like that's got kids everywhere with the wrong men. They already in dangerous situations by themselves in most cases, So
let's update Munoz real quick on the conversation. You want to do that? You want me to do it?
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah. So Munoz, we just got done covering it. We couldn't play the video, but there was a man who was out at a party or a bar or whatever it was, a club or something like that with his lady, and his wife, specifically his wife. And some guy got handsy. So he stepped in. They were drinking or whatever the case may be, and the guy punched the husband, and he got knocked out. Had to get his jaw wired shut. And after that, his wife lost attraction to him. So now she stays late from work, dropping the kids off at the mom's house, and she's giving excuses for why she doesn't want to be romantic with them and stuff like that. So the question was, what was the question?
How does the first question?
Yeah.
I'll go back to my notes.
And it was a one-hitter quitter or what?
Seemed to be, yeah. Seemed to the way the guy made it seem like he was knocked out.
He was defending her.
Yeah. So the first question is
defending her.
I'm sorry, John.
He was defending her.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
That's a tough one because you're defending your woman. I would think that she'd appreciate that, but at the same time, just in nature, right? It's an alpha thing, right? If you get knocked out, there might be some attraction towards the dude that knocks the husband to do that.
If we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. Yeah.
And honestly, to be honest with you, if you think about it, I thought I saw this the other day. Tom Brady, right? Who did his model wife cheat with?
The trainer.
Jiu-jitsu trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So don't ever be training with your jiu-jitsu trainer in front of your wife.
Right.
So the question
I
asked,
you gotta pick your battles.
Exactly. But I mean, I think it's more to that, and it's a complicated answer to that. But man, I don't know what to tell you. I would have to see the footage. Y'all can't show it. I wouldn't know. But
it was just a story. Like it was no actual footage of the fight. And there's
plenty of videos online of guys getting knocked out by the girl.
Yeah. So I was asking everybody, John, why do you think the wife? Well, you explained that the alpha. That's the question is why did the wife lose attraction or respect for him? And you said,
it's just at the most instinct levels of animalistic instincts. You see you know what I'm saying? Get knocked out. Your husband gets knocked out. I mean, it's just what it is. It's unfortunate because he was offending her. So that's I'm still on the guy's side in that situation.
Well, let me ask you this, John. Let me ask you this, then. What advice would you give him? Because he wants to continue on the relationship. He wants to rekindle the relationship. She's not showing any interest. What would you tell him?
I wouldn't. If I'm defending
what if she knocks him out?
If I'm defending you and I get knocked out, that means I'm not scared to lose a fist fight. You should be happy about that.
You should be. But see, that's the thing. That word should is very dangerous because everything on the other side of the word should implies perfection. Meaning, like, when I say something and it should do this, and it does the opposite, then it's poor expectation management, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
like, you have to just go off the fact that you have to read the other person. You have to read the room before you assume that, you know, like what you're about to say is going to be well received, right? And just but the same thing is that same should works the opposite direction for you, you know, just like you were saying, hey, she should appreciate the fact that, you know, he was defending her and got knocked out. But like I just,
well, I mean,
it's unfortunate.
You know, I have a bum knee, so you know it'd be hard for me. I could probably lose nowadays, but you know what I would do is I would set up a whole stage if that happened, and I'd hire a friend and I could whoop his ass in front of my girl, redeem myself, and get her back. That's the best
Now,
option.
so what do y'all think about that idea?
No, I told you, passport, bro. That's the only thing you got left. You know what I'm saying?
Passport.
Just go ahead and go. Yeah.
So the kids just lost their 2-parent home. That's the end of that.
That's so basically what you're saying, Victor, is American women passport bros, right? That's what you're saying. So American women, is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is you got to do like the promiscuous women do, relocate. Just go get you a whole nother zip code and just you know, like, because like you can be on this side of town,
yeah, and
you can behave how you want to behave, right? And you probably done been with every girl, or you know, depending on if you're a man or a woman, right? But if you move from North Carolina to Missouri, nobody knows who you are. You get to reset your reputation, you know. So you need a reputation reset.
Yeah.
So nobody can walk up to you and be like, "Hey, saw you get knocked out the other day online," or whatever, you know. If you move to the Philippines, nobody know. They don't care.
That's true.
Yeah, man.
So do y'all think that if we did that exercise that Munoz is talking about, could that maybe redeem him or no?
No.
If you did have somebody be a fall guy?
That'd be a movie. You know, like, it's not like a Will Ferrell script.
You pay a crackhead enough money and you get a real knockout. I mean, it might do something. It might get her a little.
What if that guy get mad and start beating you in front of your wife?
At that point, it's another risk.
At that point, it's on you, man. At that point,
he didn't take the fall.
It's another risk. Like, the guy didn't take the fall and decided to stomp you out.
Yeah. If a crackhead, because that's who I would hire. If a crackhead knocks me out, I deserve to lose my woman.
They're stronger than you think.
Nah, bro. Like, yeah, exactly. They ain't got nothing. You got to fight somebody. You think about trying to redeem yourself and you fighting somebody that has nothing to lose.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're fragile bronze. I found crackheads, bro. They're fragile. They're all malnourished, bro.
They're all malnourished. But yeah, going back to such a scenario, there's no advice you really could give the guy. No. It's unfortunate. He had to decide if it's worth him breaking his family up over the loss of romance and respect and admiration. But maybe some type of intense therapy, but he couldn't be the one to bring it up. Somebody would have to bring it up on his behalf in a way that doesn't link it back to him in her mind. Because you could, talk about, show all the great men who've been knocked out in the past and talk about, how a sucker punch is not really a fair fight. There's got to be some research, there's got to be some examples throughout history, and somebody can walk her through all those kind of things. And it wouldn't be an easy process, but it may be easier than losing your family or staging a mock battle for you to win.
The fact that this conversation even exists means you can't come back from it. You know what I mean? You got to make all of these caveats. If divine intervention, stage another fight, maybe he do this and maybe he do that. It's over. It's over. It's done.
Well, okay. What about this? Let's go back to the scenario before he gets hit, because this is part of the thing I've noticed with people, and I really want to hear y'all's thoughts on this.
Okay.
Why can't we just call the cops? You got a guy getting handsy with your girl, and you would think if you had a girl who really had your best interest at heart, she would be willing to just move. It's not because you don't know who that guy is there with. You don't know. There's too many unknown factors to really risk it all in that way. Because if he got knocked out, he could have died. The guy could have not stopped. Could have just kept hitting him. The guy could have just kept hitting him. The people could have started stomping him. So why is it that us men, we never feel like we can just call the cops in that situation? Hey, tell your girl, hey, look, girl, go over there and call the cops.
I think it's getting to that point now. Men are not afraid to call the police anymore.
So hold on. So you're telling me that a girl gets dry if you try to fight, but she's gonna still love you because you called another strong man with a gun to come help you?
Well, y'all won't be there when hopefully with the.
I mean, like in the all things being taken in good faith. Okay, meaning like let's look at it like she's completely innocent, didn't do anything. They were just out having a good time. All things being considered, you know what I'm saying, done in good faith. Because it's easy to speculate something negative, you know what I'm saying, they did to try to participate in the situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
If all things done in good faith and she cared about his safety, calling the police would make sense, you know, in that situation. Because she would be like, hey, this could go left really quick. We got kids at home. We need to deal with this in the manner that makes sense. So that's a good the question that you're bringing up, the scenario part of calling the police is absolutely necessary at this point, because here's the other part. Let's say he actually knocked the guy out, right? And he did the right thing and defended, you know what I'm saying, his wife properly or whatever, right? The guy he knocked out, let's just say he died. Let's just say he survived. And at best, he's still gonna get sued. Because like most times the people that's willing to abuse other folks and they're usually the coward that's going to always take the cheap route anyway, you know. So all things being considered in good faith, I've seen when people have broken into someone's house and then they get injured on the glass that they broke in through and then end up suing the homeowner. So it's almost a lose-lose situation, you know?
Yeah, I would always think you can always use like, and truthfully and be like, hey, look, I'm not about to fight somebody in my Ferragamos, my new Jordans, whatever it is. I'm not about to scuff these things up, just limited edition. So there's and that to some extent can overcome your wife or your girl's desire to want to feel protected in that moment. It's like, it can't overcome that part, but it can maybe distract her from thinking about it as you're running away. Because you're really not running away. There's no good reason to get in that fight, or even, you know, because she risks really almost nothing.
That's the point.
The men are taking the big risks,
and that's the point. Because so check this. So let's just say he decides to defend, right? And then it escalates into he gets taken to jail. Because it's mutual combat, you know. What if the witnesses at the scene lie? What if, you know, there's a bunch of different directions that this thing could go.
Yeah.
Because because again, the word should means that everything will be taken in good faith, and what your intent is seen clearly, and that's not always the case. So just like you look at that Tory Lane situation, right?
Dang, that's
like. You know, like you look at the Tory Lane situation, he opted not to speak up on his behalf because he thought he was protecting the women. Now he should have spoke up, but he ended up the one with the sentence because, and even though there's multiple accounts that Meg and Kelsey was fighting each other, and he stopped Meg from being shot by Kelsey, and he didn't speak up on none of that stuff. He still ended up being the one with the time, even though he ain't got no DNA on the weapon, you know? So like in that situation, the cops weren't called. And when he had to deal with the legal situation, he still didn't speak up for himself because he thought he was morally doing the right thing. See, this is where we get into this territory about right versus wrong, legal versus illegal, moral, ethics, all that stuff. See, the law don't care about intent, you know what I'm saying, as much as it cares about what was the outcome, you know? So
it cares about intent with murder, but I know
that's what I'm saying. In this particular situation, we talk about you know, like a regular mutual combat type of situation, right? But if you knock a guy out and he ends up hitting his head in a funny way, and now it's manslaughter, you know what I'm saying? And now you still might run all those things considered, you still might run the risk of losing your family anyway.
So to answer the question, I mean, there's we all have our personal views Vulcan can vouch for me and my personal views. I fist fighted a guy with a knife, got stabbed 3 times. So obviously now my wife would know I wouldn't want to for that reason. But and as far as the go back to that woman's a horrible person. At the end of the day, I'm obviously going to take the guy's side in this situation because it's obvious if he's fighting and he lost. Everyone loses, right? Everyone loses, just like all great fighters, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not going to say you're wrong in saying that he lost, but I'm not convinced he lost because he might have got sucker punched. It may not actually technically have been a fight.
Exactly.
It may not have been.
Pretty sure it was a
But just to say one more thing, is also, I mean, at the end of the day,